This will completely revolutionize your life. It's a game changer if you really practice. If I were to ask you to bring up a memory of your past, that exists in your own imagination. You have to go inside of yourself to bring up that memory. Here is where it gets really wonderful. Because those memories live within you, they're actually within your control. You can change your past. You literally can rewrite your past using this technique. So let's say you're a human and you've had some less than ideal past experiences living your life. Those past memories are not something that's actually somewhere else. It's very much happening right here. These situations, especially negative situations, they literally inform us. They tell us who we are, what we're capable of, what we believe about ourselves, what we believe is possible for ourselves. So even though we think they live somewhere in the past, no. They live very much in the now. Less than ideal experiences that are literally influencing us right now. The choices that we make, the words that we speak, the things that we go after. This process that I'm about to teach you is literally going to allow you to take these negative past experiences and completely change them. Rewrite them, reshape them to whatever you want. When you do that, you actually change who you are in this moment, which ultimately affects your future. This is you. If you watch this video and do absolutely nothing, this is what will happen to you. So you have these past experiences that were not great. They are continuing to inform and influence who you are today. Ultimately, that's going to replicate your future. So you're still going to be the same with these not so great experiences, and this is just your life path. And you might wonder, well, why is my life not getting better? Or why are things not working out for me? This is why. Because your past is in your now and it recreates the future. Now, you have a second option. What I'm going to show you is literally the law of revision at work. And we'll go through the 5-step process of exactly what you can do. Every human on earth has less than ideal things that have happened to them. Everybody. You can't become a human and escape not having things happen to you. The difference is what people do with those experiences. Let's say that we have some painful memories from the past that are still lingering. They're still with us and they're affecting us, and we know it. The process of revision, the law of revision, which allows us to go back into our past, which is just our imagination, and literally change these things. We can change them into positive things, which ultimately affects what we think and feel about ourselves now. We're gonna have a much happier and joyful future because we went back and changed this, which is actually happening now, which is gonna affect this. Past memories can be altered. They can be rewritten, they can be reshaped, they can be deleted, they can be transformed. Like, you have the power to do that. I'm gonna show you exactly how. You're gonna know exactly how to rewrite any kind of emotional pain, any kind of past emotional baggage, any kind of past traumatic event. You're gonna have the tools, you're gonna know how to change that. You don't necessarily have to change the event entirely, but what you can change is your perception. You can change how you look at it. Let's say we have a past memory that has guilt and shame attached to it, and we don't do anything about it. What's happening is that guilt and shame is still very much alive in us today. Because it's still living in us, it's literally going to affect the choices that we make and the actions that we take, which is what's going to create our future. This is what most people do. They don't understand that they have control and domain over their imagination, aka the past, that they have the power to literally transform things that have happened in the past, which influence who they are in the now, that ultimately affects the future. This gives you the opportunity literally to create the future that you want. That's the power of what I'm about to teach you. First, you want to induce a hypnotic state. Naturally in a hypnotic state every night before you go to sleep. You're going to identify a past event. So what I like to tell my clients is to just replay the day. If there was anything that happened during the day that wasn't ideal or something that you want to change, this is your time. So you would bring up that past event, you would replay it in your mind, just gently, easily on the screen of your imagination. Here is the gold. This is where you get to revise it, where you get to change it. And we want to bring in all the senses. So you want to be hearing, you want to be seeing, you want to be touching and tasting. That's going to make this new memory very, very real. Because you're in the safety of your imagination, you play all the parts. So you get to speak and say the things that you want. You get to respond as the other person. You literally get to mold and shape the event. And even if you decide not to change anything within the memory, you can decide that you want to see it differently. Like, this will literally change the trajectory of the path that you're on. It will change your life. You are on one path, and by doing this work repeatedly, you literally jump into a different life path. Like, this is where you get the power to create your future, is by doing this work. And then we're going to anchor in that new memory. So you're just going to replay it just like you did the old memory. You're going to replay that new memory. And this is the most beautiful thing that happens. So right now, if I asked you to recall a memory that you haven't done the law of revision work on, you probably have just one. You have the one anchored memory that you go to. Once you start doing this work, you now have two. So the mind, it can almost get confused. Well, like, this is the original memory, but now she came in and she changed it. So now I have option 2. And the more that you do this, like, if you want to really be a really fun creator, you can throw in multiple different scenarios, replaying and revising the same memory. And then your subconscious is like, well, which one is it? If we're on the life path and we have these events that start to happen, they influence who we are, what we think is possible, what we go after, okay? And then that ultimately leads to who we are today. And depending on what these experiences were, our perception and interpretation of those experiences, they will affect what we do right now. Is a way to take these less than ideal experiences that have happened in your past and literally transform them. And then what happens when these are transformed, you become different. You see things differently. You know how to heal emotional pain. You literally can reframe any kind of situation that's ever happened in your life. You become less dependent on the outside world needing to help validate you, because you literally know how to rewrite history. You know how to change any circumstance. So you can release expectations and you can allow people and situations to be what and who they are. This is something that I do daily with my hypnotherapy clients, and it has life-altering effects. When you go back and change a memory, it changes who you are in this moment. You change the trajectory of your life. So imagine what the effect would be if you go and you start changing all of these. You radiate a level of joy and optimism that is like unseen in this world. And it was something that you did inside your own imagination. You didn't need anyone else to change or to be different. You made a decision. You did the work of revising your past. Nobody even has to know that you're doing this. That's the mind-blowing part. Like, nobody knows. Unless you're working with a professional like me, nobody knows that you're doing this work. But what they are gonna notice is like, wow, they're different. They're happier. They're less stressed. Like, I feel better around them because there's not this heavy burden of expectation. Like, people are gonna wanna be around you. They're gonna wanna ask, and they're gonna wanna know, like, what are you doing? And you literally can tell them, I'm going into my own imagination and I'm changing the past for the better. This will change your life. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and if you're interested in private coaching or hypnotherapy, you can apply below.